They told you the shutdown was protecting the people. But how in the hell are they protecting the people by starving them? You got 42 million Americans on SNAP. We got veterans, disabled, all of the above. And instead of them fixing the very problem, y'all, they decided to call the American people's suffering leverage. Make that make sense. Leverage. Okay. Leverage, folks. If you ain't went out to go vote, Georgia, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Get your butts out there. Go vote. Get your butts up out the bed. Don't take this just as a regular off day. If you want to be heard and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, don't go in there voting in your feelings. Go in there voting on facts and what you've been paying attention to. Real talk. With that being said, they didn't just shut the government down, y'all. They shut the truth because in reality, their whole plan is to gain control. And for y'all to depend on them. So I'm here to remind y'all as y'all get out and go vote today, baby, what you should have been researching on, what you should have been paying attention to, all of the above. So with that being said, y'all, we're going to dive into the first clip of the day coming straight from Chicago. One Ray on X. If you want to follow this person, let's just get into some common sense real quick. Let's go.
How can y'all worry about 42 million people losing SNAP benefits and not worry about why there's 42 million people on SNAP?
Facts, y'all. Straight facts. Straight freaking facts. He's right. Because you can't multiply. You can't fix poverty by multiplying 42 million Americans on government food aid. That is not compassion, y'all. That is simply control. All right, let's go on to the other one because see, these are folks with common sense. Stuff is just not adding up. Let's get into the next one coming from Tony X2 on X. If y'all want to follow this person, let's dive into the next clip.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm just trying to keep up. So the same people upset about the government having so much power when they feed you that then they can starve you because of this government shutdown are now voting for a New York City mayor who wants government-run grocery stores. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding that 2 plus 2.
Facts. We can't make this up. Make it make sense, y'all. We can't. Not the people with common sense. We can't make sense of these people. All right. So let's keep diving, y'all, because I'm here to remind y'all as y'all go out to the voting polls and go vote. Again, don't vote on your feelings. Vote on what you know. All right, coming straight from Otherman Eagle Man on X. If y'all want to follow this guy, Breaking Senate set the vote on the CR in a short time. Let's dive into this clip.
Consent the quorum call be suspended. Without objection. Mr. President, I move to proceed to calendar number 168, H.R. 5371.
The clerk will report.
Motion to proceed to calendar number 168, H.R. 5371, an act making continuing appropriations and extensions for fiscal year 2026 and for other purposes.
Mr. President, it's November. It's been 5 weeks since Democrats shut down the government. And once again, we start this week by asking, is this the week that Democrats end their shutdown? Mr. President, I've said it before that there are no winners in a government shutdown. There are no winners, but there are plenty of losers. Chief among them is the American people. As the senior Democrat from Virginia said just last year, and I quote, "Shutdowns aren't victimless crimes." End quote. And after 5 weeks, Mr. President, the victims of the Democrat shutdown are starting to pile up. Military families have turned to food banks in significant numbers. And they're not the only ones. Food banks in this area and around the country have seen an influx of federal workers who are missing paychecks due to the shutdown. And things are set to get much worse with SNAP running on limited emergency funds and its future uncertain. Thanks to Democrats, millions more Americans, millions, Mr. President, are now at risk of going hungry. And yet the Democrat shutdown marches on. And of course, letting Americans go hungry is just the beginning. Thanks to Democrats, Head Start programs are beginning to close.
Wow.
Housing assistance programs are at risk. Seniors and people in rural areas can't access telehealth services. National Guard training is on hold. Veterans programs are on pause. I'm sorry to say I could go on. Actually, I could go on for a while. Shutdowns have consequences, and the pain is being felt around the country. Mr. President, last week it seemed that Democrats were beginning to acknowledge that their shutdown is having consequences. We even heard Democrats express concern that Americans were suffering. But when they were given the chance to end all of that suffering, the vast majority of Democrats in this body were perfectly willing to prolong the shutdown and the American people's pain. The vast majority of Democrats voted once again against a clean continuing resolution, the only bill on offer that could end all this suffering literally in a matter of hours. It's the only bill in the Senate that would fix every single issue I just mentioned. It would pay our troops, fund SNAP, Head Start, veterans programs, pay our staffers. 3 Democrat senators already support that clean continuing resolution, Mr. President. And the Democrat from Maine who supported the clean CR in the House said, and I quote, "There's a lot of important work to be done in Congress, none of which will be any easier if Mainers are suffering the harms of a government shutdown." End quote. The Teamsters Union and the American Federation of Government Employees, more traditionally allies of Democrats, to be frank, have called for Congress to spare the American people further pain and to pass the clean continuing resolution. And they're far from the only ones. Mr. President, it should not be this hard for a handful of Democrats to support a clean bill
It shouldn't.
that simply reopens the government. It's a very straightforward proposition.
Very straightforward proposition, y'all. John said it very plain. 5 weeks of the government shutdown, families at food banks, SNAP funding, veterans, people in the military, all of the above. No, you're not being paid at all. And they continue to vote no, because it ain't about y'all relief at the end of the day. It's about their leverage. Our suffering is their leverage. Meanwhile, they still getting checks. Okay? They family still eating. So when you go out there and you vote, because I secured my vote, think about this stuff right here. Wake up. Wake up. Let's keep it moving, baby, because we can't make this stuff up. Let's go on. Come on. I'm here to remind y'all. All right. Coming straight from Cashapp Peter on X_ from free abortions outside her rally to feed the babies. Kamala. Come on. Let's dive into it.
So on a recent podcast, Kamala Harris stated how she
It's Kamala.
felt so deeply for those little children, those babies who are going to be starved because no more SNAP. Food stamps cut, babies starve. Now, I could sympathize, empathize, and be compassionate towards that, and I am. I don't believe that any child deserves to starve. But this is ironic to me because this is the very same person, I stand corrected, who built an entire platform, or at least campaigned, on almost one specific issue, which was, y'all remember? Literally the termination or the execution of little ones in the womb.
I remember.
So I guess So the
Right.
babies only matter outside. Okay.
Okay. Straight up, y'all. Now, all of a sudden, Kamala Harris and so many others are saying feed the babies. But these are the very people who celebrated at all day campaign and rallies abortions. So what is it? Protect the child or prioritize state hunger? Like, I don't get it. I can't understand these people. And they doing this right in y'all faces. And some of y'all still sleep. That's the sad part about it. Make it make sense. We can't. Let's keep it moving. Oh, yeah, I got some stuff for y'all today. Going on out there and voting. Remember all this. I'm here to remind you. Coming straight from Brendan Lesau on X. If y'all want to follow this person, breaking Democrats in Washington are being decimated right now after number 2 top house Dem said Americans are suffering is their leverage once again. Let's dive into the clip.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have. Families that are going to suffer. It is one of the few leverage times we have.
And you reopen the government, and we lose our leverage.
So I think that just gives the president more leverage.
What I just explained it.
It is one of the few leverage times we have.
Shut up.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible, and of course.
Okay, Catherine Clark says somebody who's still receiving her paychecks and her family still eating. They telling y'all blankly, straight to y'all faces, that y'all suffering and y'all pain is their leverage. They don't give a damn, because at the end of the day, it's about what they want and their agenda, not y'all's. And the agenda don't even include y'all at all. It don't, as you can see, it don't include the Americans, the citizens of our country. It includes illegals and all of the above over us. Now, let's keep it going. Y'all hear it. Y'all hear it. All right, let's get into the next one. Coming from Lindy Lee on X. Let's get into it, y'all. Let's go.
And this is straight from the Nancy Pelosi playbook of weaponizing crises that the American people are suffering for political gain. It's absolutely sick, and one of the reasons why I left the Democratic Party. They just do not care. Everything is about expediency for them and their hold on power. And let's be clear what this is. This is a Chuck Schumer shutdown. He saw what happened in March. He got shouted down and protested during his precious little book tour because he did the wise thing, which is to collaborate with the Republican Party to keep the government open. Mm-hmm. He's terrified of his progressive base. He's terrified of the Zoran Mondanis of the world and the AOCs of the world. He's trying to out-socialist all of them in order to keep his Senate seat because he knows he's going to get primary. He knows his grip on power. It's just a matter of time. So we are in this situation because of the vanity and the selfishness of one man. And this is straight from the Nancy Pelosi playbook.
Sick of these folks. Because guess who's still getting their paychecks? They are. Guess who's not? Let's go. Have the audacity to be blaming on Trump and this administration when the mass majority of the Republicans voted with 2 Democrat votes. And all the other Democrats voted to say nay. And 2 Republicans voted with the Democrats on the no. Like, come on, man. Seriously, let's dive into the next clip. Coming straight from Sin.James Lanford on X, y'all. Let's go.
This Senate to a couple that I know. Husband, wife, both work for the federal government. Young couple expecting their first child. This week they will miss a paycheck. Both of them. You tell me how many people in their early days of marriage, both spouses could miss a paycheck while they're preparing for their first child. But that's the reality that's being faced by that couple. And I'm sure a lot of other folks that stepped up to serve their nation, serving in a federal agency. But because of a government shutdown, they're not going to get paid. I'd love to introduce this body to a single mom that just a couple of weeks ago got the invitation to go to the FAA Academy and to become an air traffic controller. Very difficult to get into that school, but is in the process, has been accepted, is in the process, has quit her job, has canceled her lease, and as a single mom is taking the risk to be able to step out in a new great career. But right in the process of stepping out to do that new great career, there's a government shutdown, and now she has no idea what's about to happen. She's quit her job already. She's canceled her lease already. She was preparing to move to get to the academy. Now what does she do? For all the folks out there that say this government shutdown is no big deal, or as my Democratic colleagues in the House have said, some families are going to have to suffer to give us leverage. Here are the families that are actually suffering to give my Democratic colleagues leverage.
All right, y'all. The Democrats mastered one thing, keeping you desperate enough to vote for the oppressor. What are you going to do today? What change are you going to make? It's not too late. I'm going to say it, good, bad, heaven or hell. Which one y'all decides? Because like I stated before, the blood's not just going to be on their hands, they on yours too. So what you going to do with your vote today? Don't come talking to me unless you voted. If you watched it all the way to the end, I want to see you say, Queen B, I dropped my vote today. What state you drop your vote at? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm going on my way. Oh, we can't talk. Okay. We can't talk. I did what I needed to do. So with that being said, y'all, I'm finna bring y'all to the last clip of today. And I'm definitely going to... Oh, no, we ain't at the last clip. Oh, I got time today, baby. Let's keep it going because we got Jasmine Crockett in here talking ish, trash out the side of her neck. Let's go ahead and dive into this clip, y'all. I thought I was getting to the end. Let's go.
I will agree that there are too many American people that are on SNAP benefits. But that means that you got to not look necessarily at SNAP. You got to look at the reasons that they're on SNAP. We know that over 1/4 of these people that are in receipt of SNAP benefits are actually the working poor in this country, right? We have not increased the minimum wage, and I don't know when, and the minimum wage still sits at $7 while everything else is going up, whether we're talking about the cost of food or whether we're talking about the cost of rent or whether we're talking about the cost to actually try to engage in home ownership if we're talking about the interest rates. And we know that under the failed leadership of this administration, this country has seen a loss of 1 million jobs, and that's just in the first few months. He's not even had a full year. So no, we need to work on economic policies that will put people into a position in which they are not the working poor, where they are still needing the $6 a day to eat. So yes, we need to talk about it, but I don't think that SNAP is the problem. I think that that is the resolution, or at least that is a symptom of the problem. We have a bigger problem in which we have billionaires that are continuing to rise up every single day and are getting richer and richer, to the extent that there was talk about Elon becoming a trillionaire, the first one in this country or in the world. Yet we still have people that have to go to the food bank and go to work, that have to sit there and go to make sure that they've got money on their SNAP and EBT cards. Like, that's a problem, and I do think that we need to address it.
She is so annoying. Like, snap that ponytail up off your head and shut up. Because your people and you are the very reason why the American people are in the situation that they are now, with that tired ass, sorry ass, excuse my French, Biden administration, along with the Kamala Harris and everybody else up under them. Shut up, Jasmine Crockett. Okay? Shut up. Worry about your scams and what you got going on, because they coming after you next. Next, let's keep this thing moving, because I can't make this stuff up. These folks is crazy. Let's get into my boy Mike Johnson. As we get into this, Democrats would not have the shutdown government down if their political careers didn't depend on it. Let's dive into this clip, y'all. And let me get a shout out to, Speaker Michael Johnson. Come straight from his page on XV. I want to follow him. Let's go.
I want to be absolutely clear about this. Democrats would not have shut the government down this time if their political careers did not depend on it. And that is not some Republican talking point. That is the objective truth. If it wasn't already abundantly clear, the number 2 Democrat in the House yesterday openly admitted to that fact. Catherine Clark is the House Democrat whip. He works right under Hakeem Jeffries as the number 1 Democrat. And she was in an interview and she said to one of your colleagues sitting here on the front row, quote, "Of course there will be families that are going to suffer, but this is one of the few leverage times we have," unquote. It's shocking to hear them say that out loud. By her own admission, she knows that the American people are suffering. Democrats know that millions of federal workers are desperate for their paychecks. They know that thousands of flights have been delayed. They know that SNAP benefits and nutrition assistance for women, infants, and children are in jeopardy for millions of American families. And yet, they don't seem to care. But you know what? Take heart, America. Take heart. Because all your suffering is for a good cause. It's for the Democrats' political leverage. That's what the number 2 Democrat said here yesterday. It is utterly shameful.
Okay, here's my thing, y'all. So let's just pay attention to this, right? The government shutdown, happened in October, whatnot, right before the holidays, right before everything. And it's kind of funny that it's actually right before today, like voting for today. I wonder what they were doing. What was their plan again? To do the government shutdown when the basics is out there, the numbers is out there. You can go ahead and calculate, do the math yourself. A vast majority of the Republicans did vote to keep the government open. The Democrats voted to keep it closed. Then let's throw a tantrum and get all the people rowdied up, and let's get all these viral snap videos going on and this above the other, and let's blame Trump administration and saying that they're the cause of the shutdown when clearly you can pull this information up. Oh, and guess what today is? November 4th. So let's see how many more people we can brainwash and say it's the Trump administration when clearly it's the same people that been playing in y'all faces for a while now. Okay. And the sad part is, and the reality part is, people are still going to go down to those voting polls and vote Democrat. The very people that keep slapping y'all in the face and playing right in your faces and playing with your children and your livelihoods. That's the sad part and reality part about it. Let's keep this thing going. Because y'all, I'm going to keep telling y'all, we can't save everybody. Some people just going to have to figure it out on themselves. With that being said, y'all, I want to close it. 13 votes, 14 ongoing to keep the government shut down. You get what I'm saying? These folks are not for y'all. They're not for y'all. They're for themselves. They're for their paychecks. They're for their families. They're for what they can gain, their agenda, and what they can get out of it. And how they can continue to abuse y'all. How they can try to persuade to get y'all votes. And as soon as y'all put them tallies in and things like that, they gone. Leaving you high and dry. They got what they needed out of y'all. Where they at? Don't go in there voting on your feelings, y'all. Go in there voting on facts, what you have researched, what you've been paying attention to, what don't take it from me either. I always tell y'all, go look this information up yourself. It's out there. Be careful how you find information too, because you can be misled. So it ain't a click here and a click there. You got to continue. All right. Now I did what I needed to do. Again, if you watched it to the end, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, kicking it with your girl. I'm definitely going to see y'all in the next. Drop your flag. Drop if you voted. Are you going to go vote? Where you from? Show some love. Georgia, get your butts up. Get your lazy butts up out them beds. This is not a regular off day, and go vote. You want to sit here and complain, this and the other. I don't want to hear my voice don't mean crap. The vote don't count. It do count. You want to see change? Get out there and go vote. Just don't go voting in your feelings, okay? Because that's the reason why we in the situations that we in now with these folks. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the last clip coming straight from America Papa Bear. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one. I'm out.
I just want to remind you that the reason why the government is still shut down is because the Senate Democrats have voted no for the 13th time. And while they
14
sit
now,
and try to convince you
counting.
that Trump's ballroom is the priority, even though it has nothing to do with your tax dollars, or the fact that it's the Republicans' fault because they control the Senate, even though there's a need for a cloture, which means that there is a need for 60 senators to say yes in order to end the filibuster. So there's a need for 6 more Democrats to say yes, and they are refusing. They are still getting paid.